Good evening. The City of Johns Creek is pleased to welcome you to Chattahoochee High School for this evening's State of the City address, delivered by Johns Creek Mayor John Bradberry. We ask everyone at this time to please stand for the presentation of the colors. Tonight's color guard is from Centennial High School, JROTC. Please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance, led by Scouts from BSA Troops 629.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Two.
Please remain standing as Chattahoochee High School students Brianna Yancey and Mikaela O'Neill sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please remain standing as our color guard retires tonight's colors. Thank you. Please join us in welcoming Rabbi Hershey Minkowitz, who will deliver tonight's invocation.
Thank you. I think for me, you can sit. Two friends haven't seen each other since their childhood meet up, and they're catching up on old times, reminiscing what happened with the family, how the last 30 years went. And one friend says to the other, oh, and by the way, 2 years ago, my brother ran for mayor. And the friend says, "That's amazing. And what does your brother do today?" He said, "No, today he does nothing. He got elected." But with our mayor, that would not be the response, as you all know. Because our mayor, the city is blessed to have a mayor like John Bradberry. And in a moment, you're going to hear his State of the City address about how he works so tirelessly together with the council and the staff, constantly growing and improving the quality of life in our city. But by tradition in our country, before we gather as a municipality to discuss any order of business, we first turn our attention heavenward and offer a prayer and invocation. We invoke the power and energy of the Almighty as we set out to do our work, and we realize that we are powerless without the assistance of the one above. There's an interesting teaching about the power of prayer when we get together as a group that I'd like to share with you, and it comes by way of an ancient Jewish metaphor. There was once a group of people traveling through the forest, and after some time they became very hungry, but they were stuck without food because they were out somewhere in the wilderness. And at some point, they come across these beautiful fruit trees. So they're so excited, they're delighted, they're relieved, they're going to eat now, they're starving. But their excitement is short-lived because as they get closer to the trees, they realize that these are very, very tall trees and the fruits are very high, and none of them are tall enough to be able to reach the fruits on the tree. But finally, one smart person has an idea. And this fellow says, "You know what? Why don't one of you get on my shoulders? And then while you're on my shoulders, we'll have someone else pick me up, and we'll form a human ladder, and that's the way we're going to be able to reach the fruits, and we're all going to be able to eat." And my friends, we're taught that that's the power of communal prayer. Some of us may be metaphorically too short for our prayers to reach the highest places in heaven, but when we come together and we pray, it's like climbing on each other's shoulders. It's like creating a human ladder, reaching the greatest heights in heaven with our prayers, and thus hopefully bringing down the blessings and prayers that we all need for success in our personal lives and the success of our community and city. So let us offer a short prayer. O Father in heaven, almost 17 years ago, the people living in this area got together, and with great determination, they formed a city which they called Johns Creek. Father, you know this city, as you have undoubtedly been observing all the great work that has been done here over the last 17 years. You have seen the power of the good that can be achieved by people coming together with a goal of helping each other create a place to raise good and happy families and for businesses to flourish, a place where you, Almighty, would always feel comfortable gracing with your presence. And so as we gather to celebrate another year of achievement and plan for the future, we ask for your blessings. We climb on each other's shoulders and we reach out to you and we say, please give us the strength. Please give us the energy. Please give us the courage. Please give us the ability to continue doing all the wonderful things that our citizens, the elected representatives, and the extremely dedicated city staff are all very much committed to. May we continue to be a shining light, and may we always live and function in ways that continue to make you comfortable, gracing us with your presence. Amen.
Please join us in welcoming to the stage the CEO of Emory Johns Creek Hospital, Miss Marilyn Margolis.
I've had the opportunity to work with John and the council. It's been such a wonderful experience. I found John to be very forthcoming, honest, and the best definition of a politician, as we've talked about before. So proud that you're the mayor of Johns Creek. And I'd like to just say for one moment, I'd like to introduce the best part of you, your wife Christy, and your daughter Gracie. Please stand up. So John and his wife Christy grew up around here in Sandy Springs. After college, they settled right here in North Fulton, which later became Johns Creek. They were married in 2003. They moved into their home in Johns Creek, and John did many things in the city to improve the quality of life, the HOA, many things he contributed to. Before he was elected mayor, John served 4 years as city council member for Post 3. He's a graduate of UGA, let's go Dogs, with a BBA in Management Information Systems. He has a landscape design business as well as other businesses, mostly in real estate. He's a former U.S. Marine and a member of the Johns Creek Veterans Association. He has served on the board of One Johns Creek, a coalition dedicated to helping youth mental health and prevention of substance abuse. Christy attended Auburn University and is a pharmacist. Christy, John, and their daughter Gracie attend North Point Community Church. They're a wonderful family. You're a wonderful member. You're also a great mayor. And it's my pleasure to introduce our mayor of Johns Creek, John Bradberry.
Before she leaves,
I have to get in front of them.
she's great. And for those of you that don't know her, she is a very direct, very strong leader of Emory Johns Creek Hospital. She is not shy, but she's also very tactful and diplomatic. We were having a conversation on the phone last week, and she's involved with a group that the council has made a commitment in an area that they're very passionate about. And there's been some questions, and she said, well, John, I think that the group is untrusting because, and there was this really long, pregnant pause, and I think I knew what she was going to say, but I just kind of let it hang out there for a little while longer. And then I said, are you saying because we're politicians? And she said, yeah, because you're politicians. Yeah. But anyway, but thank you. You're great.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.
All right. Well, first off, it is great to have all of you here. Thank you, Marilyn. Of course, I want to thank my girls for being here. Thank you for being here to support. Thank you, Rabbi Hershey. I want to thank the city staff, especially the communications department, for the role that you played in bringing tonight together. I want to thank the Johns Creek Chamber of Commerce for the part that you played in getting the reservations taken care of. I want to thank our council members. We have an outstanding council. Councilmember Dilip Tunke, you want to raise your hand? Stacy Skinner, who is also our pro tem. Bob Iramelli, Chris Coughlin, Larry DiBiase, and Aaron Elwood. Thank you all for being here. Also want to recognize State Senator Sean Still, and I believe Scott Hilton is here, or he's on his way. He's supposed to be with us tonight. And of course, I want to thank all the students and the staff of Chattahoochee High School. Thank you for your part in all of this. You've been fantastic. I want to thank the Chattahoochee High School principal, Dr. Mike Todd. Principal Todd, I want to tell you how much I appreciated us meeting in your office to make arrangements for this event. You've been most gracious. I do have to say that meeting in your office brought back a lot of old memories from my time in high school. Not all positive. Before we get started in earnest, I also want to recognize really all of our North Fulton mayors, but especially those that are with us tonight. Kurt Wilson of Roswell. And Peyton Jameson of Milton. We really pulled together as a team during the loss negotiations with Fulton County. And because we were able to stay a strong united front, we really saved substantial money for our communities and for the taxpayers of Fulton County. And I just want to tell you how much of an honor and privilege it's been to get to know you guys, even Kurt. See, he laughs at that. Not everybody would laugh at that, but he does, and I appreciate that a great deal about him. But it's been great to get to know you guys, become friends with you all, and I'm going to be really looking forward to what we continue to do on behalf of our region. So thank you for being here. It's been a little over a year since we were last together for the State of the City. And at that time, the council and I had only been elected for a couple of months. In the speech that was then, we really, the speech was basically an outline of a wish list of hopes and aspirations of things that we hope to achieve. Tonight's speech will be very different because now we have significant strides in those important priorities that we can point to, and we have been moving this community forward. Our council's story of the past year is one of great progress and sowing the seeds of future success. Simply put, we have been casting a vision, building consensus, and executing. And while I personally will always remain loyal to the goals of our city's founding, I believe that now is an appropriate time for us to move past our city's incorporation story and recognize what I know to be true. Our young city of Johns Creek is coming into its own, and we are indisputably one of the best communities anywhere. Last year, we talked about certain key principles that would guide our time in office. Safety first, building greater community, and forward together have very much guided our first-year efforts. Regarding safety first, one of the first things that I discussed with City Manager Dinsmore upon being elected mayor was what do we have to do to maintain the highest levels of public safety. Initially, our focus was eliminating the extreme street racing and the taking over of intersections and parking lots that had become all too familiar. The Johns Creek Police Department did an excellent job working with Governor Kemp's anti-crime task force to eliminate these flash mobs of chaos from the streets of Johns Creek. Our Johns Creek Fire Department also continues to serve with distinction, providing effective and efficient services to our residents, businesses, and visitors. Our fire department responds to thousands of emergencies each year, including not just fires, but also medical emergencies, technical rescues, hazardous material spills, swiftwater rescues, and many other types of emergencies. I know how much you all appreciate what they do. Can you join me in giving them a big round of applause? During the budget process last year, it was apparent that our public safety departments were struggling with retention and recruitment. There was a growing demand, yet a shrinking supply of well-qualified safety personnel. This caused cities across the metro region to begin offering greater financial incentives for new and existing officers. Where Johns Creek was once considered in the upper echelon of pay, we were being seriously leapfrogged by other cities. Council and I knew the issue could not wait, and we quickly authorized a comprehensive compensation study to begin immediately. With this council's unanimous support, we included money in the budget to implement the results of the study, and I'm proud to report that the study wrapped up last month, and our pay scale will once again be competitive in the North Fulton market. Our commitment to public safety and to employing the best quality employees and professionals remains steadfast. Now, in the speech last year, I asked you to imagine a Johns Creek where we are proactively and aggressively building our community, building it physically, economically, through the development of our human capital, through the creation of our town center, and of course, building greater community socially. Well, today, you no longer have to imagine that vision because I stand before you proud of the very real progress we have made in all of these areas. Physically, we have advanced 11 sidewalk and trail projects to bring more people closer to our schools, parks, shopping, and other neighborhoods. The council and I have utilized T-SPLOS 2 funds to fast-track these projects and have already assigned 77% of the anticipated T-SPLOS 2 revenues. And by the way, the allocation of T-SPLOS 1, those funds are finally finished with the approval of construction for Lower Jones Bridge Road, and the groundbreaking is set for May 15th. We've also made improvements outside of T-SPLOS right here on Taylor Road. That's the road that you all came down to get here, leading up to Chattahoochee High School, by ordering additional streetlights to make the area safer for pedestrians. In order to plot the future physical improvements of our park system, we updated the Strategic Parks Master Plan, and the council has already set in motion some of the first projects for implementation. During that parks process, we also addressed the historic Macedonia Cemetery. Council directed staff to hire a consultant with specific expertise in the field of historic cemeteries to give professional and objective recommendations on how to best preserve and protect that special site. These implementation efforts are ongoing. Of course, I am always excited about our parks and recreation. This year, I am especially looking forward to the opening of Cauley Creek Park later this summer. At 203 acres, Cauley Creek Park is the city's largest ever construction project. We broke ground in December 2021 and spent all of last year under construction. This is a beautiful piece of property right on the Chattahoochee River with passive green space and forested buffer areas. This will be a premier park with lots of active recreation areas, including ball fields and sport courts. And as much as I like all those features, my favorite feature is the 14-foot wide, soft surface, rubberized trail. At the perfect 5K distance, Cauley Creek Park is sure to become a coveted destination for 5K races. And I want to be sure to invite all of you to the grand opening for Cauley Creek Park. We're going to be celebrating that with a Cauley Creek Week, July 17th through 22nd. Looking past that grand opening, we've already started planning for what comes next at Cauley Creek Park. We've hired an architect to create a plan for reusing the old water reclamation facility as a makerspace STEM playground. This is a place where students and residents can explore robotics, engineering, art, and more. We're also looking to the private sector to potentially repurpose some existing buildings right on the Chattahoochee River into a possible restaurant experience and special events facility. Speaking of repurposing, we've made significant progress in sustainability. The Green Communities Program is a voluntary certification run by the Atlanta Regional Commission. Last summer, we achieved LEAF level certification, which demonstrated our commitment to becoming a more sustainable community. As part of this certification program, we will become a Tree City USA. Being a Tree City USA symbolizes our commitment to the protection and preservation of our community's trees. This will help maintain the health and beauty of our community, as well as maintain pride and property values in Johns Creek. We're also conserving our environment by encouraging recycling. In 2022, we started a glass recycling drop-off site at OC Park. Just in 7 months, we have already recycled over 85,000 pounds of glass, and I'd say for that, you deserve a round of applause. So. Our commitment to sustainability matters because it signals to prospective businesses and investors that we are looking beyond the horizon with an eye on long-term impacts. It says to our residents that we are not just thinking of our quality of life today, but we are thinking about the impact on later future generations. Another issue that will impact our future is stormwater. Over the last year, we simplified and improved the stormwater credit manual to make it easier to understand. I have also formed a stormwater task force headed by Council Members DiBiase and Tunke. They will be looking at upstream causes of creek bank erosion, the downstream effects, and hopefully their possible solutions. We've also formed a council task force to review both the permits required and the process for our residents to make improvements to their property or just to maintain their homes. Council Members Coughlin and Skinner will be chairing that initiative. This year was also quite busy improving Johns Creek economically. In last year's State of the City, I invited property owners and investors to come up to us with their best proposals to create greater assets for our community. And today we have a lot to look forward to. We landed Boston Scientific. They will become one of our flagship anchors for the innovation hub inside the town center. Boston Scientific will invest $65 million for a state-of-the-art facility and logistics facility, and will bring over 300 new life science jobs to our community. Another key economic win was Toro Development's Medley project. Medley will be a 42-acre luxury hub where residents can shop, dine, gather, and recreate on the site of the former State Farm property. The project will establish 200,000 square feet of new retail, restaurant, and entertainment space within the Johns Creek Town Center. This $400 million project will serve as the retail heartbeat of our new town center. Construction will begin this fall, and the project is expected to be completed by 2025. Now, not only did we win some really big projects last year, but 2022 was also filled with a lot of ribbon cuttings for new shops and other businesses filling up formerly empty space in our many shopping centers. Another way that we are strengthening our local economy and enhancing our community is by having focus. We talked before about our focus on health, wellness, and innovation for our economic development strategy. This year has proven how Johns Creek is becoming known as a destination in these areas. Alcon, Emory Johns Creek Hospital, EBIX, now Boston Scientific, and of course the hundreds of medical businesses and healthcare professionals that call Johns Creek home are all part of our growing footprint in the rapidly growing area of health, wellness, and innovation. All these efforts are key to us carving out our unique niche and further strengthening our local economy and maintaining our status as a highly sought-after community for both businesses and residents. And speaking of residents, we've also been intentional about strengthening Johns Creek socially. To this end, we have made a conscious decision to dramatically increase our community events. These new events were designed to bring us together and create opportunities for building greater community. This time last year, Diwali, the Holly Jolly Block Party, Lunar New Year, Daffodil Days, and now the upcoming Juneteenth were all just abstract ideas for celebrations. In the past year, we have added each of these events to build greater camaraderie and fellowship among Johns Creek residents. From vision to reality, in little over a year, I couldn't be more thrilled that we're adding these new traditions in Johns Creek. And although Creek Corps has not become a separate standalone organization of volunteers, we have very much made the shift towards volunteer and community-driven event planning. This has enabled our event dollars to go further and has empowered our residents and businesses to play a key role in these wildly popular events. We have also made a concerted effort, led by residents, to recruit local businesses for sponsorships of these events to further build community and offset costs. Another initiative I'm excited about that we started last year was the Mayor's Art Challenge to engage our students. This year, the theme was All the World in Johns Creek. I'm looking forward to recognizing the winners of this competition at a council meeting in May. And speaking of art, we now have our first piece of public art inside City Hall. It's a really cool mural painting of daffodils donated by Johns Creek Beautification and local artist Joan Zell. I didn't know that Joan was going to be here tonight, but she is. Joan, where are you? Well, you're out there somewhere. That mural will be on the first floor so we can all enjoy it. The council and I would really like to see more public art in Johns Creek, and so staff is working with the Arts, Culture, and Entertainment Committee to revisit our existing processes to encourage more public art in the future. Of course, I can't talk about the future without talking about our schools. Part of the reason why I wanted to be here tonight was because we're really trying to cement a better relationship, a better partnership between the city and our schools. We've made progress, we still have work to do. But the School Engagement Committee, this is a group of residents that help to facilitate communications with the schools. They also give ideas and feedback on how we can further support our students and engage more families in the community events we've talked about in Johns Creek civic life in general. As mentioned earlier, our town center is in the process of coming to fruition. This town center will greatly increase our own sense of place, sense of identity, and sense of community that our residents have been looking for so long. This year, you will see progress in Creekside Park. Creekside Park is the passive recreation area anchored just behind City Hall by the big lake. Last year, we finalized a master plan for Creekside Park. We engaged an engineering firm, and council made critical design decisions for Creekside Park's amphitheater, trees, and boardwalk. And when I say amphitheater, I want you to really understand what I'm talking about. There will be a stage or bandshell directly behind City Hall, but that's just a part of it. Performances will play out to an audience that's spread out across all around the lake and throughout the entire park area. And I also just want to brag on our council. You know, you see meetings, you don't always know what's happening behind the scenes. Each of our council members could not have been more excited and more diligent and just wanting to do all they could to make sure that that is going to be the best that it can be. We are very excited. We're confident that we're going to have the best town center. It's going to be just an ideal place as a center of Johns Creek civic life. We are also engaged in creating a premier pedestrian crossing into town center. An arch tunnel will cross under Medlock Bridge Road and serve as a southern gateway into town center. From all of this, including the Medley project, there's a lot more to come in the Johns Creek Town Center, so definitely stay tuned. Last year, we also talked about the Legacy Center project and how adding a performing arts center would expand our options for cultural programming and performances in Johns Creek. Last summer, I formed a working group of stakeholders and business analysts to really kick the tires on the size, scope, and scale of the project. As an outgrowth of the working group, in December, Council directed staff to search for land for a potential home for the Legacy Center. That search has been ongoing and continues. Meanwhile, the Legacy Center Task Force, an independent citizen-led group, has begun the formation of an aggressive capital campaign to raise the necessary private funds to make the Legacy Center a reality. I strongly encourage everyone here to support this important effort. The last thing I'd like to talk with you about tonight is Forward Together. We live in unusual times, great social and political tension, but this is why it's more important than ever before that we lean into civic life here in Johns Creek, finding opportunities like tonight to come together as neighbors and fellow citizens. I believe that this council demonstrated that we know the importance of conducting ourselves with civility and decorum. While we can and do disagree on occasion, we try to do so without being disagreeable. We also realize that the best way for us to build trust and engagement of our community is to bring everyone along in the decision-making process. This is why we decided to slow our roll on running our own elections. The idea of bringing city elections in-house is a great example of how we listen to the community and recognize everyone's need to be a part of the process. So if and when we do make a change, we will be prepared to have the most fair, transparent, efficient, secure, and cost-effective elections possible. It is in this same spirit that we have begun retooling our communications. We're working to better share information on infrastructure projects like roads and sidewalks, notices about community events, and even highlights of council actions. As part of this, our communications team is also redesigning our website. Folks, we have the opportunity in Johns Creek to really make ourselves an example of what can be done when people try their very best to do what is good and right and fair. And so when MLK said that he had a dream that one day our nation would live up to the true meaning of its creed, that all men are created equal, we have the power to make that dream a reality. I'd like to think that we are working in good faith to move forward in that spirit here in Johns Creek. Our path forward, both as a community and as a country, is not to give up on America or our principles. Rather, our future peace and prosperity depend on our ability to make these principles real for every American. This is why Johns Creek resident John Suttles and I are partnering to host a unity breakfast next MLK holiday. Look, obviously this is not easy. We've got to keep working at it. And sure, there are people with divisive agendas meant to keep people apart, to keep them angry, to make them untrusting, not for the greater good, but for their own selfish agendas that they pursue at our expense. We've got to do everything we can to recognize and stop these few bad apples. And I don't know, maybe it's just for fun, take this as a piece of comfort. I know one thing, nothing makes these people, nothing drives them more crazy than when we continue to move our community forward. So let's not allow ourselves to get distracted. Let's stay focused on the things that really matter. In Johns Creek, this means keeping our community safe, strengthening our community, and making Johns Creek the best it can be for everyone. From the bottom of my heart, I want you to know how much of an honor I feel every day to be your mayor, to be elected, to serve our great city. I never forget that I'm here in this role because of you and to serve you. May God bless you and our Johns Creek community. And now, if you will, please join me in the Chattahoochee High School Orchestra and Chorus as we sing God Bless America. Thank you.